Welcome to the Brunel Business School webinar today. My name is Katie Moore and I work in the Admissions and Marketing Office for the Business School and will be your host this morning. Today we have Dr. Emel, Aktas, Course Director for MSc Global Supply Chain Management, to talk about the programme and answer any questions you might have. Throughout the webinar, please feel free to send us your questions and we will answer them throughout the webinar. Thank you, Emel, for joining us in today's webinar. Could you explain what your role involves as the Course Director for this programme?
Thank you very much for your welcome, Katie. As the Course Director, I'm responsible for the academic and administrative management of the course. So I would be overseeing what modules we are teaching and also the admission process.
Okay, thank you. So we've got quite a few questions here that we would like to ask Emel today. Our listeners, if you want to post your questions throughout the webinar, we'll answer them as and when we have a chance to. Before we start, I'd just like to show you a screenshot of the campus here. We're located in the Eastern Gateway building, which is down on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. So Emel and I are sitting in an office right now. It's fairly sunny, slightly overcast, but it's quite a warm, muggy feel today. So I think we're going to have some tropical rainstorms apparently this week. So yeah, we moved into this Eastern Gateway building last year. So it's a really modern, state-of-the-art building. So you would be using this building to come and see your academics. You may have a lecture in the large auditorium. And not far from the Eastern Gateway building, you can see here a load of the recently built accommodation, and over here as well. And these ones are near the state-of-the-art sports facilities that we have, and athletics indoor running track as well. And then further down the campus, you've got a lecture centre and all the other main campus facilities, student nightlife, library, that sort of thing in the middle of the campus. And then on the other end, we have almost like a village of accommodation all the way over here. So everything's contained on one large campus. And here you can see the building we're in. Okay, so post your questions as and when you can. Emel, could you tell us who this programme's for, what the objective of the programme is, and the learning outcomes for the Global Supply Chain Management programme?
Okay, our program is for people who would like to make a career in supply chain management and logistics, and we have a special interest from people who have been also working in this area for a while, and then they would like to enhance their education. And the learning objectives of this program are, like, after completing the program, you would be able to understand the coordination aspects of supply chain management. Many companies are operating in multiple chains, and even we approach this as a supply network now, and having completed this program, you would have a much better understanding of the flow of information, products, and finance along different companies that are operating in a chain to satisfy consumers' requirements.
Okay, what are the typical learning activities on this program?
Well, we have regular lectures for our modules. Apart from that, we have extracurricular activities which would help our students to enhance their employability skills. Also, we have the Business Life program, which also gives our students to meet people from the industry. We also are affiliated with chartered members in this supply chain and logistics industry, so we hold some events with them as well.
Okay, what sort of events do you hold with them?
For example, our students become members of Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transportation and Chartered Institute of Purchasing and Supply. So you were asking about what would you be doing after having graduated from this program. Our graduates could could work as supply chain managers, coordinators, directors, purchasing managers, sales and operations directors, and executive roles in the operations area. And the events that we hold with these chartered institutes help us to bring our students in connection with the industries who would be likely to employ them. And some of these events, for example, is the student conference that is held by Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. In this event, students also present their projects in supply chain management and get together with other students in other programs in the UK so that they can build their network.
Okay, thanks, Emel. So what type of assessment can the students expect to get from this when they're on this programme?
They can expect to be assessed both based on coursework and exams. Usually our modules that are taught in the first term, which would start in September and last until December, they could expect to be writing courseworks of about 3,000 words. And in these courseworks, they would be asked to analyze, for example, a company from their supply chain and logistics perspective. They could be asked to model the supply network of a company and the flow of goods and information and finance between companies that are part of this network. And they could also assess, for example, purchasing and procurement practices of a company as part of their studies. In modules that are taught in the second term, which would be from January until the exam time, April, May, they would be expected to sit an exam after having the lectures, sit an exam of 2 hours or 3 hours, and there they would be answering questions associated with operations and project management or outsourcing, etc.
Okay. So how many hours a week do the students need to attend your lectures and seminars and classes?
We have done research on that, and this year it was on average 12 hours per week. But next year we are also planning to increase the number of extracurricular workshops that are not tied directly to the lectures, but that would help our students to perform better in their lectures, such as writing skills, literature review skills, or research skills. So last year it was 12 hours per week. This year it could be slightly higher than that, maybe 14 hours.
Okay, but those extra workshops are going to be of a great benefit to the student, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Okay, what about the modules that you teach in? Could you describe what is covered in those modules?
We have the logistics and supply chain management module, for example. This would be looking into the physical distribution of goods in a supply chain and the locations that we would use to distribute these goods. So obviously you need to have suppliers provide you raw materials, and then you would be processing these raw materials, producing products, and then you need these products to be taken to the markets. And the logistics and supply chain management module, for example, looks into the locations of the suppliers, the location of the manufacturer, the distribution centers that are being used, and the actual locations of the markets, and how much or how many of these products to send from one location to another in order to minimize the transportation costs, but at the same time maximize the service levels, which means that you have to have your products and services when the customers demand them.
Okay, sounds interesting. What about dissertations or projects that your students have done? Have you got any examples from recent past years?
Yes, I do. Our students usually do their dissertations in supply chain management and more specifically demand management or inventory management. For example, I have a student who is doing their dissertation with Diageo, and she is trying to find how you would make a forecast for new products. It's a problem that we face in the business environment, that when you have a new product, how many people are going to buy it and how many capacity you should be allocating in the manufacturing facilities in order to be able to satisfy this forecasted demand. But usually it is a very highly uncertain decision-making process. So many variables affect this future demand, and my student is trying to find out how this is done in a beverage company.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Have you worked in a global or supply chain management type position before, or have you always been in research type roles?
My PhD was on supply chain coordination, and I was analyzing a white goods manufacturer's supply chain and its contracts with its logistics service provider. So the manufacturer needs their products to be taken to the retailers and consumers, and the logistics service provider is responsible for the transportation of these products and goods. And my research was focused on how to find the optimal contract parameters so that the logistics service provider meets the demand of the manufacturer, and hence the manufacturer was able to take their products into the market at the right time, to the right location at the right price.
So you worked quite closely with the companies that you were doing your research on?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned earlier about having some guest speakers as part of the course for students. What company visits do the students get to go on, or which guest speakers do you have come to see the students?
Our students visit Oxford Mini Plant, the automotive assembly line, and they enjoy seeing the concepts that they have been taught in the lectures in practice. Apart from that, we have visits to Jaguar, and sometimes we also invite industry practitioners to talk to our students. For example, recently we have had a person from Rolls-Royce who were talking in lean manufacturing and lean management philosophies. And we also have a person from DHL where they were explaining the sustainability aspects of supply chain management.
Okay, sounds really interesting. So how approachable are the other academics in the course? You sound very approachable, Emel. What about your fellow colleagues on this programme? What support do our students receive from the academics?
Well, as you have said, we are quite approachable because we are excited with the actual research that is being done in the supply chain area. So my colleagues, Afshin, Professor Bulakis, and other people teaching in this program are highly approachable, and we also have a personal excitement about the projects in this area.
Okay. So with, is the actual course curriculum guided by research that's done in BBS? Could you explain the type of research in your supply chain area that your friends do?
Mm-hmm. Indeed. I have recently a paper in Supply Chain Management International Journal with my colleagues from my former university, and our research was on supply chain graduate education design. And obviously, when we have done this research, we always kept in mind as well how to improve Brunel's MSc program in terms of global supply chain management. And we were basically looking at what types of modules are included in the program, their weights, whether they are qualitative, quantitative, and the level of detail that they would have in approaching different topics in supply chain management. So yes, we do have research that is informing our teaching, both the entire program and also the colleagues delivering their modules usually have their research projects in that topic as well. For example, again, my colleague teaching logistics and supply chain management is working on humanitarian logistics. So we have a parallelism between our research areas and our teaching in the program.
Okay, we've got a question here from one of our viewers. I think both of us can actually answer this question. Are we still accepting applications for this programme for this September? Yes, we are. Emel actually gets to review applications sometimes from the applicants who are borderline or who've got work experience rather than a bachelor's degree. So if you're unsure, then you could always send us an email. Emel and I would be very happy to answer your query. But we're still accepting applications. Obviously, if you're an overseas student and have to get a visa application done, then we would advise you to put your application for the course in as soon as possible. Emel, how international is the student body in this programme?
Quite international indeed. We have many people from a number of countries all around the world. Yesterday I just saw my student from Japan in the library. We have students from China, Taiwan, US, Mexico, Spain and Canada. These are the countries that I remember, but I'm sure I'm missing some.
That's very diverse. How many have you had roughly? This seems to be getting more and more popular, this course.
Indeed, yes. We have 34 students this year, and this was an increase from the previous year, so we are happy to see our cohort for the 2013-14.
Yes, the numbers are increasing. It seems to be a really popular subject.
Yeah, that's because when we have done this research in supply chain management, we have also found out that there is great need for skilled people in supply chain management. This industry is looking for a lot of people that have a formal training in the concepts of supply chain and logistics. And usually such training is not able to meet the need of the industry because, as you can imagine, many companies are now operating in global supply chains, and the coordination of the flow of goods, information and finances in these network of companies is getting more and more complicated. So that's why I think the popularity of our program is also increasing.
Okay. Have your students that just finished their exams recently in May and they're starting their dissertations?
Yes.
Are you able to explain what they're planning to do their research on for the ones that you're supervising?
One of my students is looking at the waste occurring in supply chains of a retailer. So they are looking at which stage, whether in the retail environment or in the warehousing environment or before or during the transportation waste occur. And her aim is to minimize this waste once it is identified, or develop suggestions to minimize it, of course. She will be presenting her findings back to the retailer. And another student of ours is looking into the forecasting of demand when a manufacturer goes into promotions. So you can think of these buy one, get one free, or discount promotions that take place in the retail environment. And this has an impact on the supply chain itself. So when you enter into a promotion and the demand is highly volatile, it's very difficult to anticipate how many items are going to be purchased by the consumers. So my student is trying to find the patterns in data if there is a trend depending on the type of promotion that is taking place in the retail environment.
Okay, thanks, Emel. It's worth mentioning here that we actually have some past students' contact details on our website. They're really happy for prospective students to get in contact with them. So if you go onto the Business School homepage, www.brunel.ac.uk/BBS, and click on the link for Contact Our Students, you'll find one of our past students for Global Supply Chain Management. They're just finishing this year. They'd be really happy to answer any questions that you have about the programme, student life as well, but of course their perspective of the programme from a student's view. So that's worth highlighting to you if you haven't already noticed our contact student page, or if you haven't actually made use of that, because they're really happy to connect with you either by email or on Facebook, etc. I'd just like to remind everyone that we're coming near to the end of the webinar. We have about 5 minutes left, so do post your questions as we will need to wrap up within the next 5 minutes. Okay, so have you got any conferences lined up, Emel, or have you been on any in the last couple of years?
Yes, I have been, and I will be going very soon. We are doing research on manufacturing environment at the moment. So there is a problem that we have. This is scheduling of jobs, trying to decide which job should precede the other in order to minimize the total time required to complete all jobs that a machine is going to process. And I'm going to present this research of ours in European European Conference on Operations Research, which is going to be in July. So I'm preparing my paper at the moment.
Okay, and have you ever taken any master students or PhD students on with you on these conferences with your papers, or have any of your master students shown an interest in developing their research dissertation into a PhD degree?
We have one student from this year whom we will be interviewing next week for a PhD program here at Brunel University. So we really enjoy working with actual problems with our students, and we are excited to see them. They also want to progress into PhD studies. Apart from that, our existing PhD students, one of them has won the Vice Chancellor's Travel Award, and he has used this award to present his PhD research in a conference in the US. And apart from that, when the circumstances allow, we encourage our students to present their work, and we also try to join them in their experience.
Okay, thanks, Emel. We've had a few questions. There's one here that I can answer. It's an admissions query. Somebody wants to know if it's a one-year program. Yes, it is. The students start in September. The Monday the 16th of September is induction week, so students will have sessions with the academics going over the program. They'll get a chance to register, and there's all sorts of activities going on, not just with the business school but also with the student union. Lectures will start the following Monday, and the seminars start the week after that. So by October, at the beginning of October, everything's underway with lectures and classes, workshops. Then students have, so the first term finishes in time for Christmas, and then January to May is the second term, and students have 2 to 3 weeks worth of exams in the beginning of May. And then from May up until September, they have those few months to write their dissertation. So they will meet with their academic supervisor on a regular basis to go over their research. So it is a one-year intensive program. One of the questions we have, I think you may have answered this earlier on in the presentation, so if you could just recap to those who might have joined a little bit later in the webinar, what careers can students get in after they've completed this program? Would they be able to work in the UK or abroad with this qualification?
Well, working in the UK or abroad would be the person's own choice and application. But there is always a demand for skilled personnel trained in supply chain and logistics. And 4 of our students have already secured jobs during their studies here, but we do not formally match our students with jobs. When there is an opportunity, we advertise these opportunities. We are in close contact with our Placement and Career Center. But after announcing the job advert, it would be the student's initiative to apply for it and to go to the interview and get accepted to the job.
Okay, thanks, Emel. Well, it looks like we've got one more question just before we finish. Somebody's saying here that they've already received the offer letter from us, but they're unable to join this September. Would they be able to join us in February 2014? Can I get my offer deferred? Unfortunately, we don't have a start date for February 2014, but you would be allowed to defer your offer for the following September. So if you get in touch with our admissions office, you can send an email to admissions@brunel.ac.uk, or alternatively email myself at masterbbs@brunel.ac.uk, and we will get that actioned for you so that your start date would be September 2014. Okay, well, we've come to the end of today's postgraduate webinar. We hope you found the guest speaker talk useful and informative and have enjoyed your session with us. So thanks for listening again, and also thank you to Dr. Emel Aktas for giving up her time and joining us today. Remember, if you need to contact us, you could do so by emailing us at masterbbs@brunel.ac.uk, or you can telephone us at 01895 265 910. You have our website address here. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. And Emel's very happy to answer any queries you might have. emel.actus@brunel.ac.uk, or you can telephone her on 01895 267 344.
Thank you very much, Katie.
Oh, okay. Actually, I think we've just got one question from someone before we close. They just want to know, when do the classes start every day?
Depends how the timetable is arranged. We do not know for the next year at the moment, but in the 2012 and 13 we have had classes starting at 10 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It depends pretty much on the timetable arrangements.
Okay, thanks Emel for that. Right, well, okay everyone, we'll say goodbye and thanks again. Thank you, Emel.
Thank you.